Good evening, guys. It's Aaron Woodward here for AddictedOTR.com, and I'm joined today by, what I would say a pioneer of the sport in the UK, Rob Sinclair. Rob will be fighting at Event City in Manchester on Saturday at Full Contact Contender 17, and he'll be fighting for the lightweight title against Charlie Leary. So, Rob, before we get into the fight with Charlie, I kind of want to wind the clock back a little bit. Not too far, but I'm just going to wind it back a little bit. I'm just going to wind it back to BAMMA 10 when you won the lightweight title at the Wembley Arena against Andre winner, which was obviously a split decision. How did you feel about that performance as a whole, if you can still remember it?
Yeah, I can still remember it. I was the current champion at that time, so I defended my belt then.
Yeah. Sorry for that.
No, it's all right. I was the undisputed champion at that particular point, and it was a good fight. It was a split decision win, but it wasn't a split decision win really. It was one particular bitter judge that my brother beat. A few years previous, he was the only person that gave the fight to Andre Winner in the whole arena. So I do not class that as a split win, but I take it on the chin. And fortunately for me, I did get the win. Yeah. I thought I dominated the fight. I didn't have a mark on me, and it went not how I thought it would go, but how I expected the win to go. I was happy with the performance.
Fantastic. So obviously after the fight, and I was back in 2012, and you actually suffered an injury. Can you explain a little bit about the injury itself?
Yeah, so I was I beat Andre Winner at that particular point in the September, and I was scheduled to fight Kurt Warburton, and I think he was the BAMMA British champion at that particular time, and I was due to face him in, I'm sure it was March, in Newcastle. Leading up to that fight in January, I snapped my Achilles heel on my left leg, so I was out the fight for 9 months, and stupidly of me, I decided I was going to make the ultimate comeback quicker than anybody's ever done it, and within 6 months of the injury, which is a 10-month injury, I signed a contract for Bellator to enter into their tournament. Now, 3 weeks out from the fight, I was neglecting my strength and conditioning, to be fair, and I was getting injured everywhere, here, there, and everywhere, and my leg just wasn't strong enough to withstand a blow to the outside of the knee, and my knee buckled and dislocated.
Fantastic. So actually going to Bellator as well. Obviously, it was disappointing on your part. You fought Syed Awad. I think that's how you pronounce his name anyway. But how was it anyway to go over to America and be able to fight on a bit more of a worldwide stage?
It was strange for me, really, because I'd had 2.5 years out, and I would have thought that I would have got sort of maybe a bit more of a tune-up fight. The way that I was pushed by Bellator when they came and offered me the contract is we're going to build me up and try and make me out to be maybe one of the top guys. And with 2.5 years out on a career-threatening injury, well, not even career-threatening, it was a career-ending injury, and they put me in against a guy who I considered top 5 at the time. He'd beat the champion, but I'm never one to shy away from challenges, and they offered me the fight. I took the fight. I went over to America with 8 of my friends came over. A lot of ring rust, a lot of time away from my family. I usually take big support wherever I go, and I was the underdog in his hometown, so it was strange for me. But like I say, I never shy away from a challenge, and I know I could have done better. I know I can perform better, but it is dealt with it how I dealt with it on the day. I could have maybe dealt with it different in hindsight, but that's been and gone now.
Fantastic. So after that fight, your next fight was on BAMMA 21, which was against Michael Brightman, which was at the Barclaycard Arena. Was you happy with that performance?
Well, you see, I was planning on the Bellator fight being my last fight. If I'm truthful, I had unfinished business. I was supposed to fight in the tournament, and it didn't happen. And I've worked my way up to get to that point. So that was working my way. Um, win or lose, that was my last fight with Saeed Awad. That's how I was looking at it. But straight after the fight, I was a little bit disappointed in my performance, and I thought to myself, I could not leave it there. I was what's the word I'm looking for? I was cautious because of my leg. Now, going in against a top guy like him, and I came out unscathed, I knew I had to put the loss right. And getting back over to Bellator at such short notice, I knew was probably out of the question. So I had a good relationship with BAMMA, and we approached them, and they offered us about 3 fights. And Michael Brightman was probably the toughest out of the lot. I watched his fight against Colin Fletcher, and he put Colin Fletcher under a lot of pressure, who is a very good fighter, for 2 rounds. So I thought this is probably the most difficult fight, and it's credible, and I needed to put my wrongs right, and I did.
Well, yeah, I mean, how long now? Is it 15 months since your last fight?
Yep.
I think it's 15 months. What's exactly been going on in that time?
Well, see, the MMA. There's a lot of politics in this game. There's people been getting UFC shots, and there's been people being pushed and all this, and people are not good enough. And I hate the political side of things. And it's not just in MMA; it's in life. There's a lot of it's who you know, not what what you know or how good you are. It's who you know, and it's been very difficult for me to get fights. I'm contracted to Bellator. I've not heard nothing from Bellator since my fight. I tell a lie. I heard they offered me a fight in May on 5 days' notice. That's the only fight I've been offered. So I'm under contract, and I've been offered one fight on 5 days' notice.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of speculation you'd actually be fighting on the Bellator London card, and obviously it didn't pan out that way. Was you hoping yourself to fight on that card as well?
Well, yeah. I mean, I contacted Bellator, and we said, look, you haven't spoken to us in 6 months. What's going on? This was in January, and we was told that they was doing a London card. So they were saving me for that because I was going to be on the main card. So I was sort of that's fine by me then. It'd be another year before I fight. It's I'm under it's not like the British MMA when they sign a contract over there, it's watertight, and you basically have to do what they say. I was told off the matchmakers, the British matchmakers, that I was against Saul Rogers. He had previously beaten my brother in a close decision. So I thought that fight made sense for me. I thought it was a good fight for me. Leading up to it, I was told I was on the main card with Saul Rogers, so that increased my sponsorship opportunities and my profile. And then it all went quiet. So I was contacting people, and I was just told in the end I'm not on the card, and I was a bit like, no reasoning why I was not on the card, just Bellator didn't want me on the card, and I don't really believe that for 1 minute, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I don't want to fluff any feathers here, I'll get myself in trouble, but I'm not going to name names on the card, but there's a lot of guys I thought you was more deserving of being on that card than them.
Well, I'll name them for you. You're on about Alex Reed and people like that.
Well, yeah, you read my mind, Rob.
Yeah, there were too many, do you know what I mean? There were too many people, and it's frustrating for myself because a lot of the people on the Bellator card do not deserve to be on the Bellator card there. They don't even deserve to be on probably the top 3 UK promotions. I don't even know who fought on the card now, to be honest. I was disinterested, if I'm really honest. I was actually contracted to Bellator, and I didn't get the opportunity to perform. I mean, myself and Saul Rogers at that particular time, the undisputed BAMMA champion, Cage Gladiators champion, soon to be FCC champion, on the main card against Saul Rogers, the undisputed tough you know, champion, could have been a good fight, and could have
That
been good publicity for the promotion.
Well,
But
yeah, I think you versus Saul Rogers, that would have got a lot of heads turning. I think because Saul as well, since he's been on the Ultimate Fighter, has gained a lot of fans. So it's quite shocking, to be fair, that they didn't put that fight together.
the fight was together, and I know the reasons behind it, and it was all management issues and stuff like that, all politics, and it was all bullshit. I approached the guys at a BAMMA event, and I was just told a load of bollocks again. So to be honest, it's difficult for me to get fights anyway because I'm a bit of a banana skin. I'm not on my way down. My age is on its way up, but my career is coming to an end. I still feel like I'm probably number one, if I'm really honest. But it's difficult for me to get fights. So I've had to take matters into my own hands a little bit, and Adam Tay has given me the opportunity to perform on this Saturday.
Well, speaking about that, I mean, it's not just a banana skin. You're a dangerous fighter as well. I mean, you've got one punch knockout power, and I think a lot of fighters know that.
Yep.
So I think that's another reason behind it
Well,
as well.
I'm not the type of guy. I'm not the type of guy that's. You got two types of guys, I suppose, in this sport. You got one guy that's he's going to hurt you, and one guy that's probably going to grapple you and maybe submit you. I'm the type of guy that you're probably going to get hurt in the fight because I've got 15 minutes to land one shot, and it only takes one shot. History shows that. So I'm a bit of a banana skin, and if you're padding your record on your way up to the UFC and you're 7-0 and 8-0, I'm probably the last person you really want to compete with because I'm going to stop that train.
Fair enough. Well, going to Full Contact Contender 17 as well. I mean, before you actually got offered the fight, was there any other promotions that offered you a fight as well before this one?
No.
Because I know there's ACB as well, which is obviously the 5th of October, and that's stacked with former UFC veterans,
Yeah.
top 5 guys in the UK. So you wasn't approached by them at all?
No. No.
So going back to Cheryl Leary as well.
Yeah.
He's a 12-7 guy. He's riding a 4-fight win streak. He doesn't really have anything to lose, and he's got more to gain. Do you feel like the shoe is kind of on the other foot, as you were saying about a banana skin?
Not really, no, because I'm at that stage now where my face doesn't seem to fit with these big promotions for some strange reason. So it's just another fight to me now. It's there's no pressure on me whatsoever. I'm 36 years old. I've not got long left in my career. I'm not going anywhere with it now. I don't really want to go anywhere with it now. It's just a case of personal demons for me, personal goals. And so I win. I lose. I honestly cannot see myself losing. I cannot see myself losing. If I decided to go on for the next 3 or 4 years and I hit 40, I still don't see myself losing the way I'm feeling at the moment. So no, I don't think it's on the shoes on the other foot. It's going to be an entertaining fight, and we've both got something to gain out of it.
Well, you're saying that as well. You're saying you're at the end of your career, and win or lose, etc. But you win the fight. Would you still be happy if BAMMA approached you to fight on their show again?
They have approached me already to fight at the end of the year, and basically I've just put them on hold, and I just said to them, let me get this out of the way, and then we will talk. I mean, there was talk of Norman Park calling quite a few of the UK guys out. A couple of us accepted the fight. He declined the fight. Maybe that would be a good fight towards the end of the year if it was still on the table. He was the one who called me out, and a number of other guys. So that would be a good fight, and we could get that on BAMMA if it was available. Or, like you say, this ACB show maybe. Who knows? Let's get Saturday out of the way.
Right, so let's talk about your gym a little bit, Manchester Predators. You've been around the scene quite a while now. and I'm sure you're a little bit older than a lot of the other guys at the gym. Do you see yourself a bit more as a role model for the upcoming amateurs and the professional fighters?
Um, I don't suppose I see myself as that, but I probably act like that. I try to give advice to the guys, and I try to help Gav, the head coach, because you know he's got a lot of knowledge. I've got some knowledge, but I've also got a lot of experience. So I try and help him as much as possible, and I do get the odd, the odd comment of I've been the most successful guy at Predator. So I'm going to try and push that and help these guys, and if they can do, they will go further than what I have done. People like Sam Spencer and Tony Morgan and these sort of people, they will go further than what I have achieved, and I will hopefully try and help them.
Yeah, because I spoke to Sam as well a couple of days ago, and he had very high regards for yourself as well. So I think probably a lot of fighters in the gym do see you a bit more as a role model, which I'm sure isn't which I'm sure is a nice little confidence boost there as well. Um, I mean, you're a knockout artist, Rob. I mean, you've had, I think you're 13-3,
Yeah.
and 10 of your wins have come by TKO and or knockout. Is there anybody in particular when you was younger that you looked up to as a striker, as a heavy striker like yourself?
In terms of what, UK or international?
Any UK international worldwide?
Yeah, I always liked Chuck Liddell, I must admit, and I've always had a soft spot for Paul Daly. It's it's I suppose it's the way the fights go. If I'm honest, it's not something that I prefer to do, whether I strike or not. I'm pretty decent at grappling, to be fair. It's just the way the fights go. If I had a chance to submit someone, I'm sure I would, but usually one or two shots and the fights, it's either the end or the beginning of the end. So, everyone likes a knockout, so I do prefer that way when it's not how I expect to, it's just the way it is.
Well, going back to Cheryl Leary as well. Are you the kind of fighter that likes to study guys, or are you confident in your own game and you'll just go in there and do what you need to do?
Sorry, just repeat that again. Sorry, you broke up.
Sorry. So going back to Cheryl Leary,
Yeah.
are you the kind of guy that likes to study fighters, or are you confident in your own game plan of getting in there and just doing the business?
Yeah, I used to study them. I did, I'll be honest with you. I used to look at them and study them and try and break them down and things like that. But nowadays, I especially this last 6 months, I do not know what has changed in me mentally, but the confidence I've gained from my stand-up and through my grappling and everything. I do not know why my confidence has just shot through the roof, but I do not feel I need to study anybody else now. I'm just working on what I do. It's an old cliche that where people say, I'm not going to concentrate on what he does, I'm going to concentrate on what I do. But this is a legitimate statement. I'm not too fussed. I think he's a bit taller than me, and I think he's got a longer reach. I know he's got a bald head, and I know he's the champion. That's all I really need to know. And as long as the guy turns up on Saturday, that's studying enough for me. I don't really need to study him, and I won't study anybody else, to be honest.
I mean, we've just got into it a little bit more previously, but how are you feeling about MMA in general? Let's say you win on Saturday. Let's say you end up fighting on BAMMA. I think the next one's in November, which will be Birmingham. Let's say you knock a couple of wins together. Even though you're saying you're a little bit older, do you feel like maybe the love will come back and you'll want to make a bit more progression? Are you happy just taking these fights in the UK?
I don't know. See, there's a start and an end to everything in life, and I set out, 10 years ago doing this, and I'm not that type of guy to hold on to a little bit of fame, and I mean, it's not even fame really, but, where people are talking about, you get an interview, you get a free t-shirt, you get the odd shout out here and there. I'm not the type of guy to hold on to that and carry on forever and a day. I'm happy at what I've achieved. I'm going to achieve another belt on Saturday. That's how confident I am. I do really feel that, and I will see how I feel then. If I do want to have another one, I'll have another one. If I do string a few together and I do get a Bellator call or UFC call, I will think about it and make a decision if and when that happens.
Well, I want to go back a little bit retrospectively again. I know you and your brother used to actually train with Michael Bisping.
Yeah.
What actually happened in that situation?
So, he's from Clitheroe, which is about 15 miles away from my home, and he used to train at a gym called Black Knights in Burnley, a kickboxing gym when he was younger. Now, my brother used to train there, and I just nipped him once in a while, and it was Michael was down there at that time. He wasn't in the UFC. He was a Cage Warriors champion or whatever, Cage Rage champion. Sorry, that's the one. My brother got talking to him, ended up doing a little bit of, shadow boxing and grappling with him. And Mick went and trained with him. He asked me to come along, so I trained with him for about a year. And then, I had 3 or 4 fights under him, and then he went over to America and won the show, and the rest is history for him. He didn't have time to train us no more, so I found another gym, and I found Predators.
Fair enough. So as well, I mean, are you a big follower of UK MMA yourself?
I used to be, but I know a little bit about it. If you're going to ask me a question, I'll try my best to answer.
No, I'm just I'm just wondering what you actually think about the current scene in the UK MMA, rather like in 2016, 2015, than it was when you first started out.
It's getting better. It's getting a lot more popular, with the rise of McGregor and stuff like that. It's getting a lot more mainstream. There's more people coming over from Brazil, America to join the gyms to help train. So the standard's getting higher and higher all the time. Techniques are moving on, and from when I was young, when I started out, people are a hell of a lot better, a lot more conditioned. The diet's better, the physio's better. So the UK MMA scene's great, and now we've got a British champion that's the world champion. It's the start. We'll have more.
I'm sure we will as well, because when I was speaking to Sam as well, he was saying it's like the striking and things like that. We're either on par or we're higher. I think the only thing that's actually lacking in the UK MMA scene is the wrestling, because obviously America's a lot more third pedigrees wrestling with the NCAA and things like that. Is that something you agree with?
Not really, personally. No, I don't. I think our wrestling's pretty good. I think, they've started out pure wrestling, the strength there and everything like that. But there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of hands down, a lot of crouching. They give up the back an awful lot. They've got some bad habits for MMA. Great habits for wrestling, but bad habits for MMA. I think with us learning over here, we learn, if the wording is right, MMA wrestling. In pure wrestling, you can give your neck away because you're not going to get choked out. Here, I think we've sort of added BJJ with wrestling and come up with a mixture of both. So I don't think so. I don't think we get dominated in the UFC or Bellator. I really don't. I don't think there's a big gap now, if I'm really honest.
Did you manage to catch the Cage Warriors or the BAMMA shows?
I did not, no. That's bad, isn't it?
I know, I had a couple of questions set up there, but it's okay, no problem.
Go on, I'll try and answer him. No.
No, I was just gonna. Have you actually seen any of the fights?
I've seen that Paddy Pimblett's finish.
So what's your actual... Go on then, we'll talk about Paddy. What's your actual view on Paddy? What do you think about Paddy as a fighter?
I've seen a couple of clips of him. He seems good on the floor. I think his striking's improving. He looks pretty big for the weight. He'll probably end up being a lightweight if he's only 21 by the time he fills out. I'm struggling to think of any of the guys that he's beat that I know anyway. And I'm not saying that they're not good or anything like that, but the last couple of people he's fought, I've been like, I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, there was speculation on social media that he could possibly be fighting a fight be set up with Brendan Lonane,
Yeah.
which I think is, I mean, just going off my opinion, I think that's a really dangerous matchup for Paddy. I know Paddy's got a strong grappling game, but I don't think he's really fought a striker on the level as Brendan has. So I think that for him is a really, really dangerous fight. But
It does need, it does need to be tested though, does Paddy, before a UFC call maybe. But saying that, there's plenty of people got UFC calls and never been tested, so anything can happen. But people are talking about him, and good for him. You know, he's doing his thing. Brendan's he's got a very strong grappling game, like you said, as Paddy. But Brendan's got a very strong anti-grappling game, and it's very difficult to get down on the floor. And he's very good at keeping the fight standing where he's comfortable. So, you know, and the different weights as well. I believe from what I read that Brendan's called for maybe like a 150.
Yeah, 150 catch weight.
Yeah. I don't know how that would work, but
saying that as well, a catch weight. I mean, as you're saying, Paddy's only 21 years old. I think his body is actually still developing, and he's a featherweight right now. But I know I think it was one of the Cage Warriors where he actually was overweight by 7 pounds. He did give some reasons for that. He made weight for his fight on Cage Warriors 78, but I think in the future, I think Paddy will have trouble getting to featherweight, and I think will be more suitable as a lightweight. But obviously, we'll see how that pans out anyway, because Paddy was on the MMA hour yesterday as well, and I think it's pretty certain that Paddy is going to be signed by the UFC. He practically said the words without saying the words. He's got some big news coming out in the next couple of days, and obviously he's a UK fighter, so I'm sure everyone involved in the UK MMA scene will wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, well, you know me, I don't doubt anybody. He doesn't shy away from a challenge. You know, he's been in there, he's popular. You know, and you know the only thing you can do now is go to Bellator UFC, and you know it's dangerous for him to fight Brendan, like you say, because the train could be derailed, and Brendan could take. Maybe that's why Brendan's offered the fight, because Brendan could take his hype. Who knows? I do not know what goes through these guys' heads, but you know, if Brendan did fight him, I'm a friend of Brendan, so unfortunately I would be fortunate I would be supporting Brendan if he did fight.
Yeah, well, saying that as well, I mean, if Brendan and Paddy actually fought as well, and if Brendan won, I think the tables could be turned a little bit, where Brendan could be the one getting called up to the UFC and not Paddy. And I think that's another reason why Brendan was probably calling Paddy out as well.
Well, it makes sense, really, doesn't it? You know, you always go for the guy, you know, who's getting all the hype. That's why everyone wants to fight McGregor, right?
Nowadays with the shows like Cage Warriors and BAMMA, I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but there doesn't really seem to be, you know, top UK versus UK matchups, and I think there needs to be more of that. I think nowadays it just seems to be, you know, you have Paddy and he's fighting a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but not on the pedigree that of the top UK lightweights or featherweights and things like that. And I think we need to go back to a time where we have some actual UK versus UK fights.
Yeah.
So I think that actually generates more hype.
Yeah, well, like I say, me and Saul would have been a good one.
It would. I mean, you had Saul versus Andre Winner, which, I mean, Saul just looked fantastic in that fight, don't get me wrong. But if it was Saul versus yourself, personally, I think it would have lasted longer. And I think it would have been an absolute showstopper. I think it would have been an absolutely fantastic fight. And it's such a shame that that fight never happened.
Well, you know, what can I say? We were both ready to do it, and let's just say we both got screwed a little bit.
Well, it's just politics, like you were saying before as well, isn't it?
It is.
It's the way it goes. So Charlie Leary.
Yeah.
Have you got a prediction for the fight? And how it will end and what round?
I think I've been telling everybody, and I firmly believe that the fight will be over in a couple of minutes. that's how I see it going. I think I'm going to come out pretty aggressive, and I'm going to take his shots, and I'm going to land. And I think the first time I land will be the beginning of the end, and I will back him up, and I will finish him.
Fantastic, Rob. I'll be at the show as well, so I can't wait to see you at the show, and I can't wait to watch you perform. It's fantastic. It's fantastic to have you back as well. Personally,
I do feel brilliant. I do feel fantastic. I had a lot of personal stuff going on. I've cleared all that up. That's been a big chain around my neck for the last 10 years of my MMA career, and I've managed to snap that chain. That's long gone now, and my personality is shining through. And I've had a couple of interviews now where my confidence is back. If you'd have asked me these questions 2 years ago, maybe I would have said I'll try my best and we'll see what happens and blah blah. And my mindset's gone back to how it was pre 10 years ago, where I just know what I'm going to do. I can see it. I predicted it. It's going to happen. I'm going to put him down within 2 minutes. Anything else above that is a bonus for Charlie.
Fantastic. No, anyway, Rob, it's great to have you back anyway. Is there anybody you'd actually like to thank, any sponsors or anything like that?
Yeah, I want to shout out to Glenn Slater. He's been there from the beginning. Gav at Predators, Dave and Emma at Sport S, Muscle Factory, all the Sinclair lads. Away, so he's helped me with the boxing, and pretty much everyone who's supporting me, who's coming down. Adam Tay for giving me the opportunity. And I want to shout out to my children that I've not seen for nearly a month now, and that's why I'm going to win this fight.
Fantastic. So everyone, you heard here, Rob Sinclair, C4's back. Rob will be fighting on Saturday versus Leary for the lightweight title at Full Contact Condensed 17 in the Event City, Manchester. I still think there's tickets available, or usually they have tickets on the door as well if you don't have a ticket. So make sure you get yourself down there and make sure you watch Rob at the main event. Rob, Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Brilliant. See you down there, pal.
No problem. Take care, buddy.
You too. Catch you soon.